introduce Gabby and Amanda. Gabby, both of them are graduates of Michaelis. Both of them have a BAFA Fine Arts degree. Gabby went on to do a master's degree at UCT, and I think specializing in ceramics, right?
Yep.
Amanda, BAFA as well, then went on to get a certificate in education, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then has been a teacher ever since. I think a born teacher, because she teaches at, she did Redham, taught at Redham, now it's Peter Clark, which was the old Frank Joubert Art Centre. She also helps out and teaches children at the Red Cross Children's Hospital, and outreach program also at Montebello. Just a little introduction about the Cube exhibition. I met the 3 Michaelis graduates last year in November, and it was the first time I'd met graduates from Michaelis, and then probably more, that were still working in ceramics. And I thought this was a wonderful group to have here, because we're always trying to get people to come here and visit us. And I thought, you know, young students and Michaelis, that we would have this whole lot of people coming from Michaelis itself. Okay, it hasn't happened, and that's a problem we need to sort out one day. But I needed a theme, because I thought potters like myself, you know, we make bowls and cups and things like that, but I do like, and I teach as well, I do like it when there's more context to the work that's being made, where there's a story, where you don't just walk past something, but you actually want to stop and read. And then for some reason in February or so, because it's minuted in our minutes, I came up with the idea of fairy tales. I think in my mind was the idea that the imagery, not Walt Disney imagery of a fairy tale, but fairy tales are cautionary tales. They tell stories about how you should behave. There's a morality element to a fairy tale usually. And I wondered how it would be if the Michaelis group would be given that project, that theme, and run with that. And this is it. And I think they've been wonderful. They've done some amazing stuff, and you're going to hear about it. So I decided we should take some of the work, and just Amanda and Gabby can talk about it. Then we go back to the cube, and we put these sculptures back, and then we could have more questions, some questions, and yeah, just enjoy what's happened. I think it's the storytelling, the narrative, which is so important here, that you want to actually pick up something and read what's on it, or know what is behind the making of those pieces. So over to them. Okay, Gabby first.
Hi guys, thank you so much for coming all the way here, and that we can share our methods and how we came to be. So obviously Rolf came to me and he told me about his idea, and then I think, I don't know if Amanda had the same thing, but suddenly you don't want to do the typical fairy tales because it's been done and rehashed to death. And we have all these amazing stories that we can tell, Southern African stories and stuff like that, so I was kind of drawn to that. And then I was also trying to still retain what I am currently doing in my ceramic practice as I am growing. So I'm making crockery stuff to be more accessible, and I always find the vessels to be like canvases for me to paint on. So it is very important to have kind of like a white surface, and I create the shapes, and then the shapes kind of can dictate what I paint on them. And so, for instance, I already make little spider bowls, and this is a little kind of spider motif that I've done before, and it kind of fitted in so well with the story. This is a story from Ghana, and it is about Ananze the spider, and he's a little trickster character, and he teaches us it's better to be cunning than to be strong, and this is a little environment that he is in. And he wanted to be more wise and stuff. So I went to the sky god Niame, who is here, and he said he wanted the pot of wisdom. And Niame said, well, you've got to show me what you're worth. And I've had troubles with hornets and the leopard and the python, and you must capture, the little spider must capture them. And he did, and he, through song, lured all it into the calabash, and you can see there it is. And I can tell the little story of, and so all the hornets followed Anansi into the calabash. And he dug a hole for the leopard, and he put banana leaves, also something that I've been done for many years now, these banana leaves and little leopards, and he trapped the leopard into the hole through the banana leaves. And then through with the python, he put a long staff, and he said to the python, who is longer, you or the staff? And then the python went next to the staff, and then he could sew with his silk, capture this python as well. And then he got the wisdom, and he shared the wisdom with the people, and that improved their farming abilities and stuff like that. So these are the little kind of stories that I wanted to share. And then also before, when I was at Michaelis, I didn't do so much the crockery. I was more into sculpture predominantly. So I saw this as an opportunity to marry these two things together. And through a crockery and two sculptures, I can tell maybe one story. So for instance, this is a Bushman folklore, and they always have the praying mantis as this character. And the praying mantis sent his child, his son, to the baboons because he wanted to steal some sticks from them and make arrows and quivers and bows from the stick. And the baboons were like, what are you doing to the praying mantis son? And he told them, no, I was told to get the sticks from the praying mantis. And then the baboons fought with the child, and he knocked the eyes out of the child. And then they played with the eyes like a ball. So they're all holding the little balls, or the eyeballs there. And they say in this, it's a strange book because it's a very old way of written, and it's all kind of written on the cup there. But the praying mantis went to sleep, waiting now for the son. He's not coming back. And he had a dream that he's dead. And he woke up and he's like, no, I need to go. And he went to the baboons, and they kicked up all this dust, and they're like, what's he doing? And they're like, my ball, where's my ball? And then you realize it was the eye. And he took the eye, and then he saw the child is dead. And then he went to the river with the eye, and he left it there, and the spirit of the child came out of the river, kind of thing. And that is the end of that strange tale. But it's also charming, and like we've discussed just now, these are stories that we want to carry on. They mustn't be forgotten. They're so rich in culture, and it's just a kind of, it's a little bit of a privilege from our side to be able to have a means to tell them, kind of thing. So that is why we kind of grabbed it with full arms and just have these stories. And even after this exhibition, there's more stories to tell, and you can tell through the sculptures. And then the last one that I have here is Little Table Mountain, because who knows our Van Hink with the devil? We all know, hey?
Just me didn't know.
But now you know.
Now I know.
Now you know.
That's why it's so important. And
Yes.
can I just say that we expanded the idea of fairy tales to myths and folklore. And the other rich thing is that they all look to Africa for the tales, folklore or a fairy tale or a myth. Okay,
Absolutely.
carry on, please.
So, yeah, you know the story. Otherwise, I basically work with...
Can you hold that up and just show what?
Sure. And all...
How do you like the tablecloths over
The
the
little
mountain?
tablecloth is very cute, hey? Little table mountain. Yeah. I don't know, if anyone has, maybe we do questions afterwards.
Yes, we
eh?
do questions afterwards.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's me.
Thank
now.
you,
Thank
Gabby.
you.
Round of applause, yay! Your turn, Amanda.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Amanda Rybicka. I was also approached to do this exhibition in a kind of beautiful, organic way where Rolf came to us and was like, I have this idea, what do you think? And through a lot of planning and different funny conversations, our plan came to life. So, when we were first speaking about it and we had our meeting, Gabby and I both brought books, and the themes were very, very similar. And what I found quite lovely is I still have all of these books that my dad used to read me. So a lot of them are quite old, like these are the African Aesop tales. And what these books have are lots of, oh, my little Polaroid, lots of beautiful illustrations. And it really does open up a creative mind. So what I found quite fun was I decided that with these stories and the great memories that I have from my dad reading them to me, I looked back at little creations that I made when I was very small. So I've always been, even though I say I only really started ceramics maybe 2019, I've always been a little sculptor. So when I went to Michaela School of Fine Arts, I actually focused a lot on different projects. Like I did a huge hoarding project. In my graduate year, I made a full-on dress out of felted dog fur. And then from there, the theme of animals carried on evolving. So I obsessively drew this one-line drawing of these dogs chasing each other. And then I decided, well, now I'm getting into ceramics now, let me experiment with different styles. And then out came Fritzy. So I don't know if any of you have seen Fritzy, but Fritzy is very, very similar to this little jackal. So when I was looking at what visual style am I going to do, this is my favorite sort of style. But how do I take this, the image of a dog, a cubic little image? The eyes are on both sides. It's supposed to be so that when you look at it, you can actually see it from all sides. How do I take that visual image and make other animals? So from there, I went and made my first one, which is a little zebra. So you can see how Fritzy's evolving. Then I went on and made some other sculptures. But as I was making them, I was thinking of the stories that I was read as a child. So these three are about Lion throwing a party. And Lion had a whole bunch of little party favors. So that's one of the stories on how Zebra got his stripes. Zebra came to the party, was drinking some honey, enjoying himself, and then Lion was like, okay, you definitely need a super dope jacket. So then Zebra's just showing all his stripes. Now, with poor Giraffe couldn't speak. So Lion was like, oh, I feel sorry for this guy. You know, I'm gonna give you a fancy outfit, and I'm gonna give you some little horns. So basically, Lion was just giving all these nice gifts. But, unfortunately, Dusty was a little bit of, not Lion's favorite. So what Lion did to poor little Dusty was take off his tail. And that's why Dusty has a little stubby tail. Lion was not impressed. He is the king after all. Okay. But I have a story to tell that was my own from when I was a child. So it's one of my favorite ones because I always thought about it in my mind as like a story that I'd read. Like the way that I would like tell the story would be like how the stories were read to me by my father when I was small. So basically what happened was I was in Natasha with my cousins. I was 5. We were put outside at the children's table, and all the adults were inside, and they were drinking their wine, having a little party. And because I was the youngest, I only got 1 fish finger. And I was really upset about this. And I love fish fingers. So what I did was I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna eat my potato. I'm gonna eat all the other things and leave my fish finger for last. So now my cousins were a bit, you know, they were like, okay, cool, we're gonna go inside and play some games. And I was like, fine, I'll sit by myself and eat. Then when I got to the fish finger, I took it, and I was going to walk inside and have my golden little nugget. And what happened was, as I got up, a jackal jumped out of nowhere and grabbed my fish finger. So of course now I'm like, oh my gosh, what the? And I ran straight into a door. And I screamed, and no one believed me. No one believed that the jackal ate my fish finger. They thought I was just being difficult because I got 1 fish finger. So that'll always be a story close to my heart. I made my own.
Is there a sculpture of yours here? Of the fish finger?
Yes, so this is the little jackal, and I actually, and the little fish finger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. I'll just tell you quickly about Gina. Gina is also a BAFA graduate, and she went on to do a certificate in curatorship at UCT, and she lives in Oranjezicht. So she discovered that she is part of the Van Vrede family. There are two myths or folklore about the name Oranjezicht, a suburb in Cape Town. One is that Van Vrede family had an orange orchard in Oranjezicht, and her family is connected to the Van Vrede family. We're going back to the 1700s when there was the orange farm. And that might have been the origin of the name Oranjezicht. And the second story is that the view from the mountain towards the sea, you could see the Cape Town castle. And one of the bastions of the castle, I think it's got 5 almost turrets, is named Oranjezicht, named Oranje. It's named after the house of Oranje. That was the royal family. And so it's either of those two. So she has interpreted the Oranjezicht into a tree, an orange tree. So you'll see in her installation, she's got some brown vases, browny sort of beigey vases that look like wood. And then there are some oranges and some leaves. And that is the middle section. And the thing about that installation is the processes she's used to create these very much wooden, look-alike wooden pieces. The oranges were slip cast, and she has been able to create the color exactly like an orange. And then these green leaves, which are little containers in a way. And that's the middle section. In the grey cube, the museum cube, is Philip Barrett. And Philip Barrett is based on Atlantis. And Atlantis was this city that was destroyed by the gods because they became very greedy and is found under the waves, it says, under the sea. And it's about the destroyed architecture. Loosely based on Santorini, because Santorini was an island that was a volcanic island that I think in 1500 BC blew up. And the story of Atlantis is about that. His sculpture's based on that story. And the other thing is that he has an association with Atlantis in the Western Cape. I don't know if it was a business association, but it's linked to Atlantis in the Western Cape and Atlantis, the underwater city. So I think what we could, if any questions, we'll do some questions if you like, and then we're going to put the pieces back in the cube, and we can stand in front of the cube and talk about the other pieces there if you like. Okay?
Right.
All right. So any questions? Here.
Oh,
One
here's
question.
How many fish fingers did everyone else get?
They got 3.
3!
3 fish fingers, and they were like, well, you're small, so you get 1. I'm like, I'm not that small. But I kind of was, they were like 6 years older than me. 1 fish finger.
You
That
spend
seems like child abuse.
Actually, I found out that I'm gluten intolerant, so I think that the jackal was doing me a favor.
So can I ask you to put the pieces back?
Sure.
And then we'll go, when they're done, we'll go and have a look at the cube as a whole. There is also the exhibition in front, which is also, I didn't curate that. That was curated by the actual Rust-en-Vrede team, also based on fairy tales. So the whole, the gallery and the clay museum use the same theme. And I forgot to tell you that the original idea of fairy tales, the title was a bit awkward, just calling it fairy tales. And one night I had a flash of inspiration to call it Once Upon a Time. I mean, which everybody knows is linked to fairy tales.